Right.
You know, a lot of people quit drugs when the payoff becomes so significant or the loss is so big. There is a trigger to change all of ours. So in something that is not quite as serious as that is like, you know, you like to you know, eat only this kind of food every day. Well, it's about getting outside of your comfort zone, and that's behavior, right?
And I think the thing that people don't consider as well is, so have you heard of Chris Voss? He's an old FBI negotiator. One of the things that he talks about when you're trying to convince somebody to do something that you want, one of your greatest skills is mirroring. So if you lead by example, if you do the behaviors that you want your significant other or anyone else to be doing, that's going to plant that seed of they do it and I like when that happens. So I'm going to give it a try. If you're a piece of shit, I'm not going to be like, that looks fun. I'm going to give that a try. No one's going to like that. So if you want your spouse to bring you home your favorite treat when they go to the grocery store.
Right.
Maybe try doing that for them and they'll see, oh, that felt really good when that happened. I'm going to do that. Next time I go to the store, I'm going to grab her a Diet Coke. I know she loves Diet Coke. So by mirroring those things and leading with what you want, sort of gives them the clue.
What if you do something... What if you're a complimenter or you're an I love you person and the other person appreciates that,
right?
But they don't think to say it or reciprocate it, but you feel like you need to hear it. How do you get them to, it's not get them is probably the wrong word, but you do it and they clearly like it, but they don't do it back. It could be a back rub. It could be 100 things that is it too bad irrelevant? You just find something else, and it's just a well.
So I think that kind of comes down to people's love language. You know, knowing that about yourself and knowing what it is that you like. And I also don't know where people got into this habit of like, why aren't you asking for it? Why aren't you? How is anyone supposed to just guess what it is that you...
Right.
And I know most people are like, well, they should just know. I'm complimenting
women are like that,
time.
like, he should just know. We don't fucking know.
No, we don't.
You guys are snowflakes. No two are alike.
No, and changes. So...
Yeah, you might not be this. You might use 10 towels next week.
Yeah, that's never
happening.
Going to happen. Not at all, unless he like hides it from me and the next time I go. But yeah, I feel like no one's really comfortable in asking, like, you know, they get kind of stuck in that, well, what if they think I'm being high maintenance or ridiculous? Not really. I mean, you wouldn't go to a restaurant and request something, the waitress be like, easy does it.
Right.
That's not like, you ask for the things that you want and you get them.
Yeah.
If you don't get them, then that's where there's an issue.
Yeah.
So...
Although I was at a diner in Florida recently, and the waitress came up to me and she goes, "Here's what you'll have, and you'll love it." And she was right, but it was like very ballsy. I was like, "What? You're not getting a menu. You're gonna love this.
You're gonna love."
So she
this.
just basically assessed me as like a big fat guy because she brought me a huge plate of awesome food, but you know, risky. But I always bring it.
Motivator.
I know. I was like, okay, I will. She so sold me on it that I would have felt like I had bad taste if I didn't love it. I bring this up around Valentine's Day a lot. And Valentine's Day, you really have to have a conversation about how important this is to the other person, because some people absolutely don't give a shit, and some people treat it like it's the biggest holiday ever. And if the other person doesn't know,
right,
and if it's important to her, guys, it's important to you. So you don't make the argument like, oh no, but I treat the other 364 days just as special. Too fucking bad. For whatever reason, it's a big deal to her, and she doesn't want to explain to her friends why you're weird about it. So you do it, but you say it you don't say I hope you didn't forget Valentine's Day. You would say like, you know what?
Remember last year when you forgot about this?
Right. So you bring up like, here's why it's important. And in that conversation, they might realize like, I don't even know why it's important. And they might reassess the whole thing, talking it out. Here's what it means to me, and here's why it means to me. And it could be something like, it means something to me because my favorite uncle always, you know,
Well, again, understanding their why. Why is it
that
important?
And people they ask the why. They're just about just because it's what I like, it's what I do, it's what I know, and they don't ask the why.
Right. The other thing in that scenario is if you know it's important to that person and that person means something to you, but you're going to actively choose not to because you're really sticking to your guns and no, I don't believe in Valentine's Day. Do you want to fight about not getting flowers or do you want to get laid? Like, I don't know what are you trying to accomplish? Like, what in that scenario, what's going to be better?
What will get you laid?
What's the buy-in?
Yeah, exactly.
What are we working towards here? What's the end game?
People need to ask more questions. And, this entire great love debate is built around curiosity and asking the why. And I think the why always matters because when you ask it of yourself, we're not entirely comfortable asking the question of anybody. We're a little more comfortable asking it of other people. And we almost rarely ask the why. Why do I do this? And I love the why. And I've only recently embraced people asking it of me. Why do you do this? Why do you like it? And I love it. I get up very, very early, and people say, "Why do you do that?" Like, I want the day to start. I can't wait for it, and that's more about I'm happier in my life, so I'm like tomorrow's going to be great, right? So I don't want to stay up till 3:00 in the morning because I can't wait till I'm not in that place.
That's me.
Why do I write long run-on sentences with 50 commas and 2 semicolons? And I'm like, the period seems too final for me.
Yeah,
it's over.
It's brash.
I don't want
aggressive.
Because once I give the period, it's an opportunity for the other person to talk.
Right, and God forbid that.
So everything's a run-on. Everything's a monologue. So I asked that, and people are like, you become neurotic and obsessive, wanting to know why about everything. There is a balance of
well, if you're going to ask why, you also have to be open to whatever that answer is. So don't ask the questions.
Don't ask questions that you don't want the answer to. And you also have to be okay asking the why that there may not be an answer.
Right.
There may not be an answer. I don't know. Yeah. And that's sort of interesting, too. The open-ended why. I don't know. You want to go to London? Why? I don't know, but it feels like something we should do and a place we might like and we might not.
Right.
If you say, I want to go here because of this, and then this doesn't turn out to be that, then London's not great for you.
No, exactly.
So the open-end, asking the question without the answer still is a valuable exercise.
Right. Well, and in relationships, too, you're supposed to evolve and change together. So even if there isn't an answer to why or who, what, when, where, okay, well, let's figure it out together. Like, we're not here to just, exist in our every single scheduled and our comfortability.
Right. And the why might not have a neat comfortability. A lot of people say, why did you swipe right on me? Why do you like me? Why do you love me? And that person then is going to feel judged in their answer. Right. They're like, uh-oh, I better nail this answer. Because if you're like, you're fucking hot. That's why.
Yeah. What else?
And that might be the real answer. And the other person might. So then those are not appropriate whys because you're basically looking for your own satisfaction. You're not really curious about it. So you got to be careful with those because a lot of people do that. Why did you swipe right on me?
Right.
Why did you choose me? And
if you're asking that at this point in the game, though, I don't
you should be like, of course you like me.
Right. Yeah.
Why'd you swipe right?
Did you see that
your
picture?
Face?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The general aesthetics.
Because you might get because you had a hot friend in the third picture, and that's why I swiped on you. Hopefully I meet her.
Either way, someone was good looking. Either way, neighbor girl could get it.
Yeah, somebody's good looking. Somebody in the neighborhood did. I could go on all day about this, but I know you're going to have a good answer to this. So in the interest of time, this is your first time on the podcast.
Yes.
We play something called Worst Date or First Date.
Okay.
Which means you have to give us either the greatest first date you've ever had in your life or the absolute worst date you've ever had in your life. Your choice.
I'm going to go with the best first date.
Good. That's very optimistic
of you.
The
positive
here.
Although now I feel kind of obligated to like I have to talk about a first date with my husband, but
that's okay. We're selling hope around here.
Let me tell you about all the other guys.
Doesn't mean go bother all your neighbors.
No. So our, I guess, first date, was literally like, I'm going to go for a walk later. Do you want to come with? And so I think my idea of why it was a good first date is going to be way different than his. I know why it was a good first date for him. So I'll give a little of both. One, I like that it was just something simple. It was, hey, I'm doing this. This is what I do in my day-to-day everything. Join me in it. There weren't any bells and whistles and whatever. Just walking around the neighborhood, just talking. Not even really about it. It wasn't like an interview, like date stat. Like it was talking about, just neighborhood things.
Right.
For him, what made it a good date, I guess, was, well, one, I was wearing a tank top.
I was just about to say, what were you wearing?
Yeah. No bra and a tank top. So that pretty much sealed the deal right there.
You want to go for a walk?
Yeah. He's like, oh my God, let's walk all of the places. Just parade me around town. But that also, I wasn't really trying to impress anyone with anything. I did.
Depends on the tank top.
Well, yeah, no, that was just an unfortunate mishap of like, I'm lazy. And again, I was like annoyed that he wanted to hang out with me. So I'm like, I'm not putting on a bra for this. It's ridiculous. But I was also, I'm a very authentic person. This is it. This is, I'm going to say fuck so many times. I'm going to do it. I'm going to say something probably awful. I'm going to talk about serial killers too much. I'm going to it's just going to happen. And I think like that sort of took some pressure off.
Right.
So it was a great first date because it wasn't a very much first date, if that makes sense.
Did you know in the moment that it was a date?
Oh, I was like actively hoping it wasn't a date.
Okay. So when did you guys decide it was a date? Or is it after you were married, you were like, that was a date? Like, when did you decide this was a date?
I don't know if we had. I think it was just, that was when
you made out at the end of the block.
Oh God, no! I was like, okay, well, I got to get going. I was eating a cheese stick, hoping my breath would be awful.
So, so did you like him more after the walk?
I did, yeah. Okay. I was like, okay, that was less painful than I had anticipated.
Which is the goal for a first date, I think. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it was when, like a few days later, I was thinking of something funny that was said on the date, and I was like, okay, so now I'm thinking about this person outside
Neighbor boy.
I'm thinking about Neighbor boy. He can't get it yet. We're not. That's not it. But just the funny was right. The fact that it stuck a little bit, and that I was willing to push my schedule, my very rigid schedule of. I was very much like, I wanted to go to bed early, get up early. Now I could not be more opposite,
right?
And that, but yeah, I was willing to make a change.
So who reached out? Let's do that again, or let's upgrade to food.
He did. The walks happened a lot. And then so we grew up in Brecksville. And there's a really great ice cream place in the center, Honey Hut. So I love Honey Hut. So we would walk.
It just sounds like an ice cream place or a strip joint.
Either one. Okay. Yeah. Now I know my next business venture.
Exactly.
Honey sluts.
25 girls at the Honey Hut.
Yeah. No, now I'm going to get started on that and add that to my resume.
Exactly.
But yeah, we would walk there. And then, so I guess that kind of adds in food and whatever.
Yeah.
He jokes that, at least 2 holes before you get food,
yeah.
which that also wasn't something that took place. So I don't recall that being the case anyhow. Somehow he must have pulled that off. But went to a nice, and honestly, that was more awkward for me than just the casual walking around. I feel like,
not knowing it was a date, had you let your guard down?
Yeah.
Which is why we always tell people around here, our first date should be something that involves some other activity, even if it is getting ice cream. Like 2 people sitting across from each other always feels like an interview, and it always feels like a date, and then the walls go up, and then you're really just studying each other doing this. So the more casual and, in your case, the less clothing.
Yeah, no, that's pretty.
the better.
Right up my alley.
And it all worked out. Good.
Well, again, you're immersing that person in something you're already doing or you would be doing anyway. So why wouldn't you